Hi everybody, welcome back to This Stuff is Complicated. My name is Andrew Kuykendall, and with me today is...
I'm Don McCulley. Nice to meet you all. Andrew, what's up with the Love a Duck t-shirt?
It's Gatsby the Great from Twiddle.
Okay.
So, back in March of 2020, my wife and I went to go see Twiddle play at the Fillmore in San Francisco. Unbelievable show. Second set opened with a Gatsby Orlando's Gatsby sandwich. One of the best 40 minutes of music I've heard in the last half decade. That being said, the day after the show, as we were driving back to Sacramento, where my job was running a TPA, it became very clear to me that we were going to see a lot of frequency and severity claims coming for our self-funded clients. And today, as we talk about frequency and severity and how that interacts with stop-loss contracts, it seemed kind of fitting to put this one on.
Cool. I like that. So just a high-level recap on what a stop-loss group captive is, because that's the general arc of what we're talking about here today. It's an employer-sponsored health insurance program for generally more than 50 employees on the plan. It was originally designed to create an opportunity for employers to have less taxes and less regulation as it relates to offering health insurance to their enrolled population. So, Andrew, let's roll.
Yeah. Talking about it, frequency versus severity really addresses the two types of claims that you'll run across in a self-funded platform. Frequency relates to the day-to-day operational claims. Think about stuff like annual physicals, well visits, maybe urgent care type of claim, getting vaccines, getting prescription medicines, things like that. Whereas severity is going to be more along the lines of high-dollar, low-interaction claims.
So you talk about two types of claims. I think medical and pharmacy. And you're talking about frequency versus severity. So where do medical and pharmacy kind of play into this frequency versus severity? Because it's more than two types of claims.
Well, you can absolutely have a frequent claim in medical or pharmacy. As an example, if you were to take a maintenance medication, you were to be on cholesterol medication or high blood pressure. Those are very low cost, but you take them every day. Then there are the severity drugs. If you are in chemotherapy, the drugs for chemotherapy are often the most expensive part of that treatment, and those can run into tens of thousands of dollars a month.
Thank you.
Same thing with the medical side. If you are going in and having a major surgery, if you are going in and doing a hip replacement, that is something that is going to be a very significant event, and tied along with that is the physical therapy, et cetera, et cetera. So that event produces a lot of claims that are then going to have impact on the overall health of the plan and on your renewal as well.
So if we could boil frequency and severity into 3 bullet points, what would they be?
I think the biggest point is understanding when a claim moves from frequency to severity, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, by the way. The second is the severe claims are the scary ones. Those are the $1 million. Those are the ones that really get into the brains of your CFO or your CEO or the reporting. That's where a lot of people get excited. Again, understand that's why you buy insurance. You pay the claims that you expect to have, and then you buy insurance for the claims you aren't anticipating. And the way you understand what's going on with the health of the plan, listen to your plan sponsor, listen to your client, read your reports. Make sure you know what's coming, and make sure you understand what you can do through risk management platforms, as an example, to reduce those costs or manage them going forward as a claim moves from a frequency claim to a severity. One of the great examples to that is prediabetes. If you can trace the progression of diabetes, and you can see it coming, and then ultimately it starts with pre-diabetic. There's simple blood tests for that. A1C is going to be the step one along the route. The severe extreme to that is going to be with full dialysis and then kidney transplants. If you are able to see in the reporting that somebody is moving down that progression ladder, you can get some interventions in there. You can work with risk management vendors that will really give you the opportunity to control those costs, provide better outcomes for your employees as well. And then by managing those costs, it will have much less impact on your renewal.
So diabetes and kidney disease, those are more manageable than, in my experience, than say narcolepsy or say cystic fibrosis. Would you say we're getting to the point where we're having less and less claims that don't have solutions on the table, or are we still have some dark ages going on?
I think dark ages is not necessarily overwrought, but we are certainly never going to run out of things to treat. I can promise you that. And we're certainly not going to run out of high cost treatments at any time soon.
No, I think the lobbyists have figured that one out.
Yeah. But what is very exciting to me, at least, is that the treatments for those very unique conditions, you may refer to them as unicorns, is something that comes out that we hear quite often, is those disease states are now going to be treatable. And that is going to improve quality of life. And that is really going to have a great impact. But there is a great cost associated with that.
You sound like you're specifically bringing up gene therapy treatments.
Not necessarily, but that is definitely the biggest one in the headlines today for sure.
Yeah, and that's a conundrum. We'll have to cover that in another episode, but it's fun to touch on these things when we have a few minutes.
Yeah, and 8-10 years ago, the biggest claim I had ever heard of in my life was a skin cancer.
Yeah.
And then we got into multiple organ transplants, and now we're talking about gene therapies. The technological advances are really allowing us to provide a more effective treatment going forward, but those come with a very significant cost. That cost is huge, but that's why you buy insurance. That is understanding what is going on with the frequency claims is what you budget for. Understanding what's going on with severity claims is where you try to find those solutions, where you try to find the risk management opportunities. And you need to understand that, let's step it back to something a little more mundane. If there's a cancer treatment out there, you'll be looking at a 2 or 3 year path. That is an incident of a severity claim then becoming frequency. Because you know that claim is coming, you can expect to pay for it over the next 2 to 3 years. So to bring it home here, there's 3 things that we really want to land. Pay your known claims. Understand that that is your responsibility as the plan sponsor, and then insure the ones that you do not know about. This is the most effective, most efficient, and most efficacious way to run your plan. A severity claim can become a frequency claim, but understand what the length of that claim is. Some of them are just ongoing for life. Some of them have a 2-3 year window. And the way you learn about those is read your reports. Have the conversations with your clients, not just during renewal period. Get the reports monthly. If you have the opportunity, meet with them quarterly. And especially when these items come up, figure out what is your best risk management solution for them. So thank you very much for joining us today to talk about frequency versus severity on This Stuff is Complicated. We look forward to seeing you soon. I'm Andrew Kuykendall.
And I'm Don McCulley. Thanks for joining us.